Laura Ingalls Wilder, the famed children's author, wrote many books about growing up in South Dakota. Her books are known around the world and translated into more than 40 languages. The Ingalls was the first family in a town called Smet. With that, here's Keith Fisher.
I want you to hear something. Listen to this. Do you recognize it? It's the theme music from the 1970s TV show Little House on the Prairie, starring Michael Landon and Melissa Gilbert. Although you can only see the show on reruns today, you can view it here in real life in Smet, South Dakota. The setting for the television show was in Walnut Grove, Minnesota, but many of the ideas and research that Laura Ingalls Wilder put down on paper were from her life experiences living in Smet. Charles and Caroline Ingalls are recognized as Smet's first permanent residents. They made their homestead on a plot of land outside of town, and Charles worked various jobs over the years, from justice of the peace to town clerk. This is the surveyor's house, the first residence of Ma and Pa Ingalls in the Dakota Territory. The house has been standing here at its present location since 1884. However, when Ma and Pa first moved in, it was on the shores of Silver Lake. This building is by far the oldest standing building in Smet. Many families have lived here over the years, and in 1967, Laura Ingalls Wilder Memorial Society purchased the building and opened its door to the public.
We're a nonprofit organization, and so just by the people coming here, they give donations, and our admissions go back into the things that we do, or the things that we have to buy to keep the business going.
This building is somewhat of a classroom for the history of the Ingalls family. Volunteers, dressed in the clothing of the day, reminisce of what it might have been like.
But when Laura came into this room, she looked around, she would see a full-size bedstead. She thought, that's probably where Pa and Ma would sleep. And you know, they made a trundle bed because in those days the rooms were small. Those shelves were lined with canned goods. There were big sacks of potatoes and big barrels full of flour and cornmeal and salt pork. They used the stove that the surveyors had left. They had just a very small stove. They had to use this to cook on and also heat their whole house.
In her formative years, before she was married, Laura Ingalls taught children in a one-room schoolhouse.
We have a replica of the Brewster School, which is right behind the surveyor's house, that the people like to go, and the children like to pretend that they're in school so they can go out and visit that.
The home the Ingalls lived in the later part of their life was built in 1887.
It's the original home that Pa built after he had homesteaded here for 7 years. He built a house in town, and Laura and Rose and Almanzo did not live in that house, but the rest of the family did.
It's located on 3rd Street between Loftus and Ponset Avenue. Although Laura and her husband Almanzo Wilder moved away from Smet to Missouri, the rest of her family remained. On a hill above the city, you will find the resting places of Charles and Caroline, Carrie, Mary, Grace, and the infant child of Laura and Almanzo. The city of Smet has recognized the contributions and hard work that the Ingalls family showed as residents of this town.
It's very important. It brings a lot of tourists in, a lot of extra dollars. It's a major deal. I mean, like I said, we work real hard with the Laura Ingalls Society to keep them people coming in.
When traveling on Highway 14 in Kingsbury County, you will eventually come to Smet in that little town on the prairie. Reporting for South Dakota Getaways, I'm Keith Fisher.
You can get more information regarding the Laura Ingalls Wilder Memorial Society on their website at discoverlaura.org. There you'll find hours of operation, tours, and the pageant showtimes for this season.